Hey guys, what's going on? It's Players bringing you guys another video. If you guys couldn't tell from the title above, this is going to be another one of those stories that I tell you guys. Probably one of the weirdest, most bizarre, crazy, funny days of my life. One of those days you just can't believe happened, and you look back on it and you just chuckle at it because it was ridiculous. Before we get into that, I want to go over the gameplay that you're seeing right here. This gameplay is not recent at all. We're talking about like Halloween of last year. I kept it for a while, or this long I should say, because as you're going to see, I probably did one of the biggest comebacks in pubs. You see on the side of my screen, the score streaks I'm running, hater, wraps, and GI unit. Those definitely played a big part in this subjective game mode, keeping the enemies off the flag while they were at like 190 and we were at 120. Held them off for like a good 3 minutes, so we ended up clutching up and winning the game. Like everything I did was so perfect in placing that. I really didn't have a style of performance. I didn't go like 61 and like 4 or 61 and 7 or something like that. But just the objective that was put into this game, the comeback that I and my teammates did was incredible. You guys should stick around for the whole video and listen to this crazy story. So 2 or 3 days ago, I went to the barber, wanted to get a haircut, and I went in, sat on a seat, waited for my barber to finish up with some guy, and as I was looking at the TV, you know, there was this show on that was about like some weird freaky things that people do. For example, there was this one woman that was sewing her tongue shut. Like it was really weird. Like a whole bunch of people were doing it on the TV. If you guys know me, if you watched the video of when I threw up in class, it was titled something like that, you'll know that I really shouldn't have looked at that because I get really queasy about things like that. It wasn't a smart idea to do that. I really didn't think about it much when I did it, so I just said screw it, and everyone was like just surprised that this woman was doing that. She was like bleeding from the tongue and it was really weird. The person that my barber was attending at the time, he had finished and he called me over. So I sat down in his chair, gave him the whole rundown. What I wanted to do was kind of do a line. If you guys don't know what a line is, I'm pretty sure there's a different name for it, but I don't know barber terms. It's like where the hair on the top of your head and the side of your head meet, and just like draw like a straight, or shave a straight line right down there. So I don't want to make it too thick or too wide or whatever you want to call it, whatever term you want to use. So I made sure that he made it a pretty thin line. So in order to do that, he had to run the razor back and forth, making sure there was like barely or no hairs where the line was supposed to be, obviously, otherwise it would defeat the purpose. And in order to do that, it felt really weird on my head, all the buzzing that was going on it, and it was getting really hot from, I guess, the friction between my scalp and the razor. So that felt really weird for me, so I'd never had it done before. And it was getting really hot, and as well inside this place it was pretty hot too, and just all these things that could have contributed to what was gonna happen. My dad was in Starbucks because me and this barber usually like talking about sports and you know how things are. We have a pretty good relationship between each other. We're talking and all that, and all of a sudden I get hit with like some weird feeling from like the buzzing on the side of my head. I see that I'm bleeding a little bit, which I'm not complaining about, you know, that just happens sometimes, but it's my stupid self that can't stand a little bit of blood. So I start feeling kind of queasy, and I start thinking about it more, which I shouldn't have done. The tongue that was getting sewn shut, the side of my head, how it was feeling, the sting of the burn, of the heat and all that. And I was like, yo, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm not feeling too good right now. Like, I gotta go recollect. So he's like, all right. Now, from here on out, this from his perspective, what had happened, he was about to go take the drape off the bib, whatever you call it, the thing that keeps, or somewhat keeps the hair out of your shirt. As he went to do that, apparently my body just, not my body, but my head just like fell back, and I rolled my eyes up, and there I was, just pretty much like lifeless for a couple of seconds. Now the thing that woke me up wasn't that he was shaking me, it was that I flat out pissed my pants, and I just felt like the piss like going down my leg, which is pretty freaking weird, because I've passed out a whole bunch of times in the past, and you know, I know what it's like. I get the feeling, and I got it this time, like the slow movements of like everything, and the hearing started fading out, you know, just the general stuff that happens when I'm about to pass out. I don't know if it happens with everyone else, but yeah, so I started feeling that, and like I just knocked out, pissed down my leg. I wake up because of it, and then one of the guys run over to Starbucks to get my dad. I'm in the bathroom, like, just recollecting myself. And then my dad comes over. This barber thing is a little bit further away from my house. My dad didn't have the time to go back to the house and just get me some pants and boxers or whatever. He went next door to the dollar store. Now, the only thing is that I needed boxers, like I said, and he only brought back sweatpants. I was freaking going commando for a little bit. It was kind of weird, but that's not even the worst part. So I come out, finish my haircut up. I was talking to a bunch of people. They're like, you should go to the doctor, you should go to the hospital, you know, that's not good. So that's what I ended up doing, gave them my information at the hospital, told them what happened, put me in a room, and before the woman left me in the room, she's like, all I need you to do is strip down into your boxers and just put this robe on. And I'm like, only thing is that I don't have boxers on. Like I told you, I kind of just pissed myself. Do you have any boxers? She's like, no, we don't have that, I'm sorry. And you know, she walked out. So there I was with two options: putting this robe on butt ass naked, and keep in mind this robe doesn't even cover like half your back. It just has like this little knot on the back of the thing that you could put on and somewhat cover your back a little bit, but not to full entirety. Or keep the sweatpants on, cut it or roll it up, which is what I did. I rolled it up, and you know, I'm kind of glad I picked that choice. The next series of events was pretty interesting. That, you know, all of it happened, and it kind of took my mind off the fact that I just passed out. What ended up happening is this student doctor walked in. He's like, hi, my name is this and that, I'm gonna be taking care of you. You know, we started talking about things. I'm like, when's this guy gonna get this stuff done? All he had to really do is take the blood out. I think they call it an IV or something like that. Now what happens with him and these needles is that these needles have to be pulled out, I guess, a certain way. If not, they don't work. The needle snaps. Something happened. He just screwed up the needle like a couple of times, and on the third try finally got it right. Grabbed that needle, freaking stuck it in my arm, and started moving it around. Now this is where I don't understand my body. Like I see like someone getting their tongue sewn shut, but I could definitely stare at my arm getting blood taken out of it and stabbed with a needle. If I wasn't queasy like I was at this point in time, I would have just been like, okay, whatever, no big deal. But as I'm sitting there and this guy's like shuffling this needle through my arm, I'm like, yo, this has got to be a joke. So in walks the other doctor, and then she's like, so you didn't get any blood from that arm? He's like, no. And as he's like holding a cotton ball or something to dry up the blood, and I'm like, yeah, he didn't get any blood. This is, I'm thinking all this in my head. I'm just staying silent throughout the whole thing. She's like, all right, well, I'll have you try over here. So I'm like, no, he's not trying. Like, this guy cannot do this again. Like, I'm not feeling good. So the woman shows him where to put it, rubs a little alcohol, ties the knot with a rubber band, whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much, they got the thing in, the needle in, and we were on our way. They started taking the blood and all that, and you know, it seemed fine and dandy. But they put the bag in for the, I guess you could say, the water, the stuff that was supposed to hydrate me if I was dehydrated, which I wasn't. They put that in. As they were about to walk out, woman rushed into the room saying some code or something like that, and I was like, all right, you know, I didn't think much of it. I thought it was a little code. She walked in, she walked out. Then some other nurses came in the room, and they literally started saying a whole bunch of stuff to each other. They started getting me ready to go, and then they pulled me out of the room, and they put me right next to the desk in the middle of all the room. So I'm sitting there, I'm listening to the people at the desk that are like getting the calls for emergencies and all that. And then they're like, ETA 10 minutes, CPR. I'm like, all right, someone's choking on something. As I continued listening, I heard that I was thrown out of my room, which I really didn't mind. That I was like, all right, whatever. Without giving too much information out, I want to keep this part kind of private due to the possible outcome of what might have happened with this person. All I'm gonna say is when they had arrived, the police had arrived with them, and until the point I left, they were still there, which was a couple of hours later. So I don't know if that says anything. Hopefully, I wish the guy the best if he, you know, made it or didn't. And the one part that really stuck out to me, that really had me kind of upset, but I didn't say anything, was that there was this like really crabby old lady that didn't like get it through her head that someone was actually brought in. Like at this point, most of the patients knew that, you know, something big was happening. It's like in a jail, like when something big happens, all the cellmates know about it. The word kind of goes around, and she was just being like really crabby and disrespectful to the people that were trying to help out this poor guy that was dying. She was trying to discharge herself. She kept on saying things like, oh, I've been here for the longest time, you guys haven't seen me, and now you're dealing with someone else. You guys don't pay any attention to the elders, which you should do. Like, she was just going off, like trying to make the people, I guess, feel bad about what they were not really doing, which was ignoring her. They were trying to save someone's life. So regardless of the fact, like I said, I really wish the best for the guy, whatever happened. Yeah, it's pretty much the story, guys. You know, I learned a couple of things from the circumstances. It was a good life experience, but I definitely wouldn't want it to happen again, especially the part of me pissing myself and, you know, spending a whole bunch of time in the emergency room. But I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I think there's a little bit left to this gameplay. I'll just play the rest of it out with some music. If you guys liked the video, make sure you guys hit that like button. Comment down what you thought of the story and or the gameplay. Subscribe to get more of this content in your sub box. And as always, guys, see you guys in the next one. Take care.